So Warm Audio have just released 4 new microphones, 2 of which are based on the classic U-87 style mic, and the other 2 are based on the U-47 style of microphone that you should all be familiar with. All of these 4 mics are shockingly affordable. The WA-87Jr and 47Jr are both retailing at $299 USD, and the Studio Essentials versions here are going to be retailing at $199 USD. That's insane. At this price point, all that matters is how do they actually sound? Well, today we're going to find out. I'm using them on drums, bass, guitars, and of course, vocals. And I'm going to really stress test them on things like kick and snare drum as well. And make sure you stay to the end of the video because I'm going to announce how you can go in the draw to win this WA-87 SE. One lucky winner is going to get it at the end of the month. But that's enough from me. Let's get into it.
On the other side, even if my wings dissolve, you never see me fall. Rise above it all. You never see me fall. Through the fire and through the storm, you never see me.
So that track at the top was recorded with only these 4 microphones. And I'm going to show you in a minute exactly how I did that. But before we do that, I've got to give a shout out to Warm Audio. Thank you so much for sending these mics for review. They haven't paid me to do this video, but I do get to keep these mics. And as I said, I'm going to give this one away real soon. Stay to the end of the video for that. So the first question most of you are going to be asking is, how can they make these microphones so affordable and yet sound excellent? Well, what they've done is some very clever design. All of these microphones are in fact transformerless mics. So there's no transformer on the output stage, which helps to keep costs down. And in the case of the 47, you're not getting a tube 47, we're doing a FET 47, which typically would have an output transformer, but in these models, they don't have a transformer either. There are plenty of awesome transformerless microphones out in the marketplace that sound excellent, so it shouldn't really be an issue. Now, what's amazing about this collection of mics is that the capsules used in both the WA-87 and the WA-47 are the same capsules used in their flagship Warm Audio mic. So if you're familiar with the WA-47 or the WA-87, these are the same capsules, the exact same capsule that you would expect in a flagship microphone. So what does that mean? Well, in an 87 style microphone, they have what would be typically known as a K87 capsule with a dual backplate design. The 47 has the K47 style capsule, and these are quite different. They're actually the component that has the most direct impact on the quality of sound you're going to achieve. So if the capsule is the most important thing in a condenser microphone, you're getting the best one available there, which is quite amazing. And that goes for these $199 cardioid only ones as well. These SE Studio Essentials have the flagship capsule in them. They also share the same exact circuit path, and they're all built with high quality capacitors like Weimers and polystyrene caps in the actual audio path used for voicing the capsules themselves. So what does that mean? Well, this is for the real audio nerds that tune into this channel, but basically, once you take the signal from the capsule, then we have to revoice it a little bit and balance it out because it might be a little bit too bright, especially in the case of something like a K87. So we attenuate some frequencies and we do some funny things with capacitors, and you want the best quality capacitors to do that. And Warm Audio has used discrete components here and really put in the right pieces to make sure that the sonic integrity of these capsules is kept in check. And this is true once again for the SEs. So the SEs, Studio Essentials, even though they're cardioid only, share the exact same circuit, which is amazing. So these microphones pair up beautifully. So what's the difference between the Junior and the Junior SEs? So in the case of the WA-87Jr and the WA-47Jr, they each have a selectable polar pattern in the front here. They also have a 10 dB pad on the back and a 70 Hertz roll off. And those things can be super handy. The SEs are purely cardioid only. They don't have a roll off, they don't have the 10 dB pad, and you can't change the polar patterns. So that's where you save your money. The Junior series here also come with these amazing rugged shock mounts. They're all steel. Yeah, great quality shock mount here, and you get that with the Junior series only. The Juniors also come with these hard mount clips, but in the case of the Studio Essentials, all you get is a hard mount clip. So it all depends on what your needs are in the studio. Do you need a highly versatile mic with a roll off and with other polar patterns, or are you doing mostly voiceover and you could do without those kind of things? Maybe you have your own shock mount even. That's entirely up to you, and if your budget's tight, you can still get the exact same microphone. I've just got to reiterate, besides the frequency select and the pads and stuff on the back, these microphones are one for one the exact same mic. They have the same capsule and the same audio circuit path. It's pretty incredible. So that's enough of the real nerdy stuff that we're going to talk about today. What I'm most excited about is how versatile these 4 mics really are. They each suit a range of different sound sources. The WA-87Jr and Junior SE are obviously going to be great on things like vocals and acoustic guitars and, you know, sort of sound sources where you want a rich sound but still very bright and crisp. The WA-47, if we can take, you know, the idea of the microphone that it's designed after, is going to be a little bit warmer, a little bit richer in the lows and low mids, and it might have, you know, a bit of a gentler kind of roll off in the highs. And a FET 47 is really known for things like kick out is one of the major ones that it's used on. Acoustic guitar, vocals, once again, and then a variety of other sources. Bass cabinets, 47s are used on bass cabinets all the time. But for now, I'm going to take you through how I produced that track using only these 4 microphones and which ones I put on what, and we can have a listen together in isolation and in the context of the mix on what these microphones really sound like. So first up, I really put these microphones to the test by going straight for drums. I started with the WA-47jr on kick out, and then I needed an overhead kind of setup to get an image of the drums. So I went for the 87, the WA-87 pair, and left them in cardioid because they're essentially the same microphone as long as they're in cardioid, and went for a Glyn Johns style of overheads. So that kind of thing where they're equidistant from the snare. One's placed more over the floor tom and one's placed, you know, over the crash snare kind of area. And that's because that's a bit more forgiving if mics are a little bit different, but I didn't have any issues because these mics sound sonically identical. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, so those were my overheads. And then for the WA-47 Junior SE, I used that as a room mic. And basically my idea was to get a whole image of the drums, but get the 47 style mic on that kick out to really test that. And this is what we got. And I was actually super impressed with that overall drum sound, just with those 4 mics in placement there. And it's definitely a usable sound. I could have done this song with just those sounds, but I wanted to take this even further and push these mics as far as I can. Now, an amazing thing about them is they can handle extremely high SPLs. The WA-87s can do about 125 dB, and with the 10 dB pad, this one can go up to 135 dB SPL, which is incredibly, you know, loud. That's basically your snare and kick drum covered. But if you want even more extreme stuff, the WA-47jr and Junior SE can do 147 and 157 dB SPL, which is crazy. Like, such high sound pressure levels are able to be taken by these 2 microphones. So it's excellent stuff there. Definitely going to be able to put them on kick drums and stuff forever. So very cool. the high SPL tolerances that all of these mics really have. So basically what I wanted to do is reinforce the amazing drum sound that I'd already captured with some close mics and sample those hits into the mix, just to give it some more forwardness and really, once again, as I said, like test how well these mics handle at close, loud SPLs on a drum kit. So what I did was put the WA-87Jr on snare top, the WA-47Jr on snare bottom. It was a risky play because this one only does 125 dB SPL, but I actually put the WA-87 SE on kick nearer to the sound hole so I could get a bit more clickiness, because the WA-47Jr was getting all that low, mid, like 100 Hertz or so, like thumpiness, but I needed some click and some tops. So what I did was put this on the kick out, but in front of where the air hole is on my drum kit, and this is what that sounded like. And as you can hear, there's just an amazing tonal quality to these microphones. The WA-87Jrs can handle those high SPLs of the snare. They're nice and snappy and bright where they need to be for something like a snare top. And surprisingly, the WA-87Jr SE handled that kick drum perfectly. It was just, you know, rock solid in that position, sounded great, and with the pairing of the WA-47, we have an amazing kick sound already. It's actually quite incredible. The last thing I needed to do was get some samples of the toms. So for those, some big, round, bombastic toms, we're gonna go with the 47s. I went with the SE version on Tom 1 and the Junior version on Tom 2, and, you know, I could have used either or. It didn't really matter in that case. Let's have a listen to those. And you can hear, once we put all of those samples in together, we get this amazing quality drum sound. I'm so surprised and impressed with the sound I was able to capture with all of these condensers. Typically when we think of recording drums, we often reach for things like dynamic mics for close mics. And the beauty of these microphones and their high SPL tolerances is just that you can put them anywhere and they're gonna sound awesome. Then I had to lay down some bass, and I immediately reached for the WA-47Jr. A 47 FET style mic is often used on bass cabs because the FET of the 47 is a little bit faster in the high frequencies and the attack of a bass, but still has that nice roll off, and it's obviously going to be more pronounced in the lows and low mids. And that was literally all I used. There's no DI, there's no other source, it's just the 47Jr on my bass rig. And how awesome is that? It sounds absolutely incredible, especially when paired with the drums as well. The balance that I'm starting to build here is excellent. Next up, it was time for guitars. So what I went for there was I wanted to play around with the polar patterns a little bit more. I went for a pairing of both the WA-87 and the WA-47. I engaged their high pass filters, and I went for a figure 8 pattern on the 47 style mic as well. And this is what that sounded like. And these guitar tones are very crisp, very bright, maybe a little bit bitier and edgier than I would use, but we're gonna EQ that in a second as well. Then the last thing I had to do was record some vocals. And this was nerve-wracking for me because I don't usually do vocals on this channel. This is actually the first time I've ever sung on a song on this channel. And the vibe and tone of this song was very much inspired by 90s grungy kind of styles of stuff. So that's what I wanted to go for. Because I wanted to put the SE series a little bit more to the test, I went to use those only.
Thunder cracks the ceiling wide, death awaits on the other side. Even if my wings dissolve, you never see me fall. Rise above it all. You never see me fall. Thunder cracks the ceiling wide, death awaits on the other side. Even if my wings dissolve, you never see me fall. Rise above it all. You never see me fall. Through the fall and through the storm, you'll never see me fall.
And once again, obviously with like aggressive, loud vocals like I deliver, especially in the chorus, these microphones handled that perfectly. There was no clipping of diaphragms. There was no worry about can this microphone handle those high SPLs that I was going to be giving it. So I really think that all these microphones sounded absolutely killer on everything I threw at it, whether it be, you know, snare and kick and toms, or loud vocals, or heavy guitars, or like just really aggressive mid-forward bass. It was just, these microphones really handled that beautifully. But let me know in the comment sections down below, what do you guys think of what I was able to achieve using only these 4 microphones? Let's say heavy alt rock isn't your thing. Well, I'm gonna be demoing these mics for the rest of this month. Next week, I'm gonna have a hip hop artist and an acoustic singer-songwriter in demoing these mics as well. So make sure that you hit subscribe down below for those videos as well, because what I really wanna do with these is put them through the tests as much as I can in a real world scenario, not just on myself, but on other artists as well. And I wanna see where these microphones shine. Does the WA-87 suit hip hop vocals like I hope it will? Or do we need something a bit warmer, like a WA-47jr? Do the SE versions cut it just alone on a vocal without needing a filter? Like maybe some of you at home would be more likely to reach for the more budget-friendly version with cardioid only, because you might not need all the filters and stuff. So make sure you subscribe, because I've got heaps more content on the way showcasing these microphones on other genres as well. And I'll also have a teardown video where I open up the microphones for the super audio nerds out there, and we can have a look at the circuit topology and, you know, nerd out about the capsule design and all that stuff as well. And I should also mention, we're gonna feature these on my AudioBoi's podcast, because not only are these microphones excellent for making music, they can definitely be used in a podcast scenario. And some people overlook condenser microphones for podcasting because they think, oh, we've got to use a 7B or an RE20 or any of those kind of mics. But these microphones can be absolutely excellent for podcasting as well, and they're actually more affordable. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out the AudioBoi's podcast. I'll put a link down below, and you'll see us use these mics in our podcast in an upcoming video this month as well. So we got this far, and I hope you've enjoyed the content today. But what I've got to do now is explain how you can go in the draw to win this WA-87 SE. It's really simple. All you got to do is head over to my website, thediyrecordingstudio.com, and subscribe to my mailing list. That's it. That's all you have to do. Anyone that subscribes to my mailing list will be added into the draw, and I'll be drawing that at the end of September. Once the month of September ends, the winner will be announced, So I hope you all subscribe, and I'm going to be starting to do a newsletter once a month through my website as well, with useful tips, recording, and different news about the products that are being released and all that great stuff as well. So it's going to be a great way to stay on top of plug-in deals, specials from DIY companies that I work with, and anyone else. And I promise you, I won't be spamming you like some other companies do out there. So don't worry about that. If you subscribe, you won't be getting spammed. So lastly, I just want to thank once again Warm Audio for sending me these awesome microphones to test and play around with and share with you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content today. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comment sections down below, or you can add me on Instagram at DIY Recording Studio, or you can email me at mitch@DIYRecordingstudio.com. All other links will be down below. Get amongst it in the comment sections. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite microphone that you heard today? And remember, I've got lots more content coming through September on these microphones. So if you're interested in them and you think they're a microphone that you'll need in your studio, stay tuned for that and make sure you subscribe. That's enough from me. I'm Mitch from the DIYRecordingstudio.com. I'll catch you soon.